That's what got me last week. Oh, you had two as well? Two on an empty stomach is like sick. On a floor. Person would know this person's two what? There were campaign stickers in a conference or a committee meeting.
I didn't know that's a thing.
Well, at this point, you have, I think, well, when you discovered that a while ago. I couldn't really tell the difference fully, but I was like, something slightly different. But it wasn't, it's the attitude change. I mean, I will agree. I was thinking today. This is some of those actually, I can't remember. Oh, the double jeopardy one we sent to either the oversight or gut doctor. Because it's like a clarification.
Anyway,
I wasn't trying to tell you, I was just trying to give you mine first. You can do it. I heard. Where it goes up to the last, I can just go in a wall.
But we beat KU. It was always a competition. Longer than that. People so we snatched them. There's a lot of things that longer. It wasn't me, but I like to shake their hands. So what did you
director, I know the programming. What about it? It's normal.
We'll see. I mean, you can't have to be here.
You're finally emailing. I don't know.
Yeah, if it got amended, so that's right. Jacob, I had to update your picture.
I can, I can't search for part of it really big about sustainability, so.
It has to be up to the court.
I can give you our.
It does not matter at all. You know what? They got it.
He's not far, but just far enough, but I'm like, so creative.
I don't think you will need to. I just, if you
As a member of the election, actually, as a member of the election board. My job it's not, oh really? Yes. Nothing to report it? How close to the door? My was it yeah, no, which campaign? Which campaign? Yes, it's Justin. Not Justin. Accurate. Yeah.
Can you send me a Word document version?
I was walking into my lab today and I saw this. I thought about the previous one?
Yes.
It's in the movie.
I can't get the team to open. Okay.
I now call this meeting of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association Student Senate to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to begin our Student Senate meeting taking place on Thursday, February 15th, 2024, with a land acknowledgement. We recognize that Kansas State University, as the first land-grant institution, stands on the ancestral lands of the Kaw people. Our state of Kansas is home to 4 federally recognized Native nations: the Iowa, Kickapoo, Prairie Band Potawatomi, and Sac and Fox. We must remember that the land serving as the foundation for this institution was and still is stolen land acquired by white settlers. We pledge our commitment to creating decolonized spaces at the university while advocating for the support and future success of Indigenous faculty, staff, and students at K-State. With that, Speaker Pro Tem Kappelman will take it away with our first roll call.
Right. Bellamy. Biggs.
Here.
Blood.
Here.
Broughton.
Here.
Bruckner.
Here.
Koch.
Here.
Compton.
Here.
Cuesta.
Here.
Cup.
Here.
Dennis.
Here.
Glasscock.
Here.
Griffith.
Here.
Haynes. Heatherman.
Here.
Hesseltine.
Here.
Hulse.
Here.
Jacobson.
Here.
Kirchin.
Here.
Kidd.
Here.
Kermer. Lee.
Here.
Long.
Here.
Lynn.
Here.
Mason.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Cowrie.
Here.
Helton.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Rivard.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Syatt Nick.
Here.
Salmon.
Here.
Shirkley.
Here.
Streetman. Strunk.
Here.
Sushanik.
Here.
West. Winger. Wolf, and Zacho.
Here.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Brady. We'll now move into our first open period. First up, we have Asu. Please make sure to close your laptops and give our guests your full attention.
Okay, hi everyone. All right, hello everyone. Cool. My name is Tai Wen, and today I'll be talking to you guys about my organization, the Asian American Student Union here at K-State. Okay, next slide, please. So about me, I was born in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Then I moved here when I was 10 to Dodge City, Kansas. And fun fact about me, last summer I was in Portland, Oregon, and I skydived for the first time. So that was pretty fun. I got to like control the wings, I don't know, the parachute, yeah, on my way down. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Next slide, please. So ASU's mission, our mission is to foster unity and support for all Asian Americans and American students here on campus, to provide awareness of Asian culture, share our cultures with everyone on campus, provide means for which Asians can become more visible, be more heard and seen here at K-State, and just create an atmosphere that promotes diversity and equality of all diverse people. So we do that through community building, having food sale, and public events. And so for our community building, we try to hold bi-weekly meetings for our members where they can get to know each other more, learn more about their culture and their roots. We also have the ASU family system where senior members can help guide like freshmen and sophomores, show them the way of like college living and ASU. And we also have MASU conference for our members to connect with other students here in the Midwest, talk about their experiences and see what they can bring back here to K-State. So for our food sale, this is a way for us to show you guys more of our culture. We've had a boba sale last year, and we also sold Thai tea. We've had, last semester, we had a spam musubi and onigiri sale. That was quite popular. And last winter, we had a pho fundraiser because here, for some reason, there's no Vietnamese restaurant, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, we tried to appease that with our pho fundraiser. So for our public events, this is open to the community. We've held events such as Dan A.K. Dan, he's like a musical artist that we had last year, or 2 years ago. And also, we have our annual Lunar New Year celebration event, where this is our biggest event. This is where my favorite event, because I can share everyone my culture, what like is important about my culture, and because this is our most popular holiday for Vietnamese people. And yeah, for the event we have performers. We get performers from Wichita, Nebraska, and also we show off our local talents with like Tatsumaki Yosakoi or KSU Kahani. And so for April, for our upcoming APITA Heritage Month, we are planning on having Jackie Nguyen. She's a business owner. She started Cafe Cafe in Kansas City. It is the only Vietnamese cafe in Kansas City. It just started like during COVID, so yeah, it's pretty new. But yeah, I look forward to that. So here's our Lunar New Year event for this year. It's gonna be this Sunday. Everyone is invited. Like I said, there's gonna be fun activities. You can have crafts. There's also free food. We're catering from Tasty China House. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of performances. There's gonna be a line dance team. I'm excited about that. That's an iconic thing that every Lunar New Year celebration has. But yeah, with that, the presentation concludes. You guys have any questions for me?
Thank you. Are there any questions? Senator Hesseltine.
First of all, thank you so much for coming. I think my only question is, how would you like to see SGA support you guys?
I think so far you guys, this is my first year in OSU, and you guys been very supportive. I think to be more supportive, I guess you can be more like communicate with us more about important deadlines, which you guys have been doing very well. So I hope you guys keep that up. And yeah, I think overall it's been pretty good so far. But yeah, that's one thing that I noticed. Thank you.
Are there further questions for the speaker? I have one question. What has been your favorite event that you guys have held so far?
I would say the Lunar New Year event. Sorry. But yeah, that's just the biggest event that we've had. That would draws a lot of people to it, and yeah, it's also like helps for the like Asian communities here, because I know they held their own events, but it's like in small groups, so they don't get to be able to like hire a line dance team, which is I think is very crucial for the event. And with us, through you guys, very grateful to help us to be able to fund the event and get all these performers. But yeah.
Awesome. Are there further questions? Senator Lee.
For us that don't know, could you explain what Lunar New Year is?
Oh, yeah. So Lunar New Year is like a spring festival. It's a very important holiday in Asia, especially China, Vietnam, and Korea. And it's kind of like a Thanksgiving, Christmas for us. It's a time where people can come back to their family, have like dinner with their family, have good meals, talk about their lives before they go back to their jobs and work and grind for the whole year again. But yeah, yeah, that's why it's so important to us. It's a time for family. Thank you.
Coordinator Hoffman.
This is the year of the dragon. What was last year? Was it the snake?
No, last year was actually my year. It's because I'm the year of the cat in Vietnamese zodiac, but in Chinese zodiac would be rabbit. But yeah, so you're probably more familiar with the rabbit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. I'm actually born in 2000, so that's the year of the dragon. But it's like before, actually Lunar New Year. So I'm actually a cat, but like my parents, because they always like dragons, so they say I'm like I have the head of a dragon, but the tail of a cat. But yeah.
Awesome. Are there further questions for our speaker? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Are there further first open period speakers? Seeing none, we will move into approval of the minutes. The minutes were distributed on Tuesday along with the agenda and legislation tracking information. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Senator Glasscock.
I move to approve the minutes. Unanimous?
Second.
Awesome. It has been moved and seconded. The minutes will stand approved. Now we have announcements. 1, proxies. If you're going to be absent from Student Senate, please fill out the link, even if you aren't sure if your absence will be excused. 2, if you'll be physically absent from Student Senate but would still like to attend via Zoom, please fill out the Student Senator Zoom request form. 3, if you want to give props to someone in Student Senate, fill out the Senate shoutout form, and Speaker Pro Tem Kappelman will read them at the end of our meeting. 4, SGA Member of the Week is Evelyn Ettinger. Evelyn read and defended her first piece of legislation in front of Senate last week. Great job getting involved and handling Senate so well, Evelyn. The upcoming events calendar is there. I have one other announcement, and that is that next week, the committee chair application / Senate exec application will go live right after the election. So if you will be in Senate next year and are interested in a chair position or just a Senate executive committee position, please fill out that form. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions or any of our current members of Senate exec if you have questions about the positions. And the quote of the week is, "Together united, we can be a force for change," Kamala Harris. We will now move on to committee reports. Are there any committee chairs that would like to give a report tonight? Chair Broughton.
Can you guys hear me? So I just wanted to do this presentation tonight to share a little bit about my committee because we're going to be making a change to our comprehensive plan tonight, or hopefully tonight. And so I wanted you guys to know a little bit about what we do before this bill goes through. You can move forward. Yeah, so just a little bit of an introduction to our committee. We're kind of a little bit unlike all the other committees here at K-State. We don't have a set responsibility per se. We are not here every week to do like a specific thing like allocate money or make sure that we are tending to specific responsibilities that have been set forth for us. Our goal is to best advocate for the student body using our at-hand resources. So this, whether this be through advocating for change within the comprehensive plan like I'm going to go through tonight, or just in general resolutions that work to better the student body. And right now we're tasked with accurately representing the opinions of KSU SGA. This is kind of seen through all of the changes that all of the resolutions we pass are opinions on specific issues, and they have to go through Senate. They have to be approved by us before they're represented by us. And so I think it's kind of just important to mention that we are, we're representing the opinions of Senate. So it's kind of our job a little bit. Moving through into the comprehensive plan, it's kind of, each chapter is separated out into 3 different sections: the background, engagement, and strategy. So the background outlines the issues and the impact of these issues, and it has basically a little bit of statistics on who this affect, what changes from this chapter, and like who will it affect. The engagement includes surveys and anecdotal reviews from people. So this is like, oh, is this problem an actual problem? And then it cites statistics on like, this is a problem. And then the strategy is separated out into 2 sections: the objectives and the action items. So the objectives are like what we want to change with each chapter, and then the action items are how we're going to implement this change. Now, this is going to be really boring. I'm sorry, guys, but I kind of just wanted to outline the comprehensive plan for you guys. So there's 6 chapters, the first one being academic support. And each of these statements underneath each of the chapters, I'm going to go through all of them, but each of these statements are the objectives, not the action items. So these are the objectives of each chapter and what we want to accomplish with the chapter. The first one being academic support. The objectives: all students should receive equitable support in the pursuit of their education. So making sure that people have the ability to learn while here at K-State. The second chapter being accessibility. So this kind of goes hand in hand with DEIB. And so we want to make sure that all students, no matter who they are, where they come from, what background they are, they should be able to enjoy the full scope of K-State's campus with dignity. And it should be a primary priority of any physical infrastructure planning effort. So any new buildings that come onto campus, we want to make sure that they're ADA compliant and make sure that they follow the accessibility recommendations. Chapter 3 is health. All students should be aware of mental health challenges and other resources available to address them. So this is kind of goes through with Green Bandana training. We tried to do a Green Bandana training with Senate exec earlier this semester, and it kind of fell through because they just never responded to us. But we're hoping that with the next chair and with the next committee that we can push this objective more. That'd be good for us. Chapter 4 deals with the safety of the students. So no matter who they are, what background they come from, they should feel safe on and off campus. And another reason I kind of wanted to outline this was because we want to make sure, I'm going to work with Brian here in a little bit to get this updated and implemented into like an enumerated sort of document. And so right now our objective literally says university affiliated organizations. We want to make sure that that's updated with all the changes that were made with the organizations earlier this year. Chapter 5, scholarship report, scholarship support. Online scholarship assistance portal should be integrated with the existing platforms to prioritize clarity, efficiency, and ease of use. We want to make sure that for all those that need or want scholarship should be able to get it and should be able to apply at least easily. We want to make sure that there's tons of money that is given out each year and that needs to be given out each year. We want to make sure that the people who actually need them are having ease of access to them and know that they're there. So that's kind of the whole point of this chapter. And then with chapter 6, we've been working on sustainability. So we've actually made a couple of changes this semester to the sustainability chapter with the implementation of a new edible landscape led by Chase up there. And so we made a couple of changes with that, just updates in general to the chapter. And we want to make sure that K-State is pursuing all opportunities to reduce waste for the students on and off campus. And we want to make sure that all of our buildings going forward, this kind of works with what I was talking about earlier, is LEED certified so that they're providing the best sustainability practices that they can before they're created, right? It's easier to, we always learn this, inherently better design. So you want to plan for better design before the buildings are actually built. That helps reduce cost and overall just helps in general. That's it for the chapters that we have outlined tonight in the comprehensive plan. Our future goals are to update the comprehensive plan and move it to the KSU SGA governing document. So it's not really in a, we have a document, but it's not in necessarily the format that is needed for KSU SGA. So we're going to make sure that that's up to date. And then we want to, I want to establish a SOC transition procedure for future SOC chairs so that it's easier for them to get all of the documents that we have, and so that they make sure that they have all the resources that they need to fairly implement them. And then, as I mentioned tonight, we're putting forth another chapter regarding career support, and so look forward to hearing more about that from Miles. Any questions? Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
No. Senator Griffith.
This is twofold. One, is there anywhere currently where the comprehensive plan is publicly available, and what governing document do you intend to eventually put it into?
Yeah, so it is a document right now. It has been passed through bills. It just needs to be put in a format that's appropriate for Senate. I can send you the document if you want. I don't know if it's publicly available anywhere right now. That's kind of one of the changes that we're looking to make. Yeah.
Granted.
What governing document are you going to put it into eventually?
Brian?
Statutes. I didn't hear you.
Are there further questions for Chair Broughton? Chair Long.
What did Chair Blood say in here? Statutes. Thank you, Brian.
I think Chair Blood said statutes.
I think he said statutes, guys, just in case you didn't hear.
Are there further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there further committee chairs that would like to give a report tonight? Seeing none, are there any directors that would like to give a report tonight? Commissioner Saya.
So elections are next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. People are very excited about them. And I'm getting a lot of questions about who has filed where. So I'm going to tell you. For the College of Agriculture, we'll have 8 students on the ballot. For the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design, we'll have 3 students on the ballot. For the College of Arts and Sciences, we'll have 20 students on the ballot. For the College of Business Administration, we'll have 11 students on the ballot. For the College of Engineering, we'll have 6 students on the ballot. For the College of Education, we'll have 2 students on the ballot. For the College of Health and Human Sciences, we'll have 1 student on the ballot. For the graduate school, we'll have 7 students on the ballot. And we have no candidates running in the College of Veterinary Medicine. All candidates tomorrow, probably, will receive a sample ballot to make sure their name is spelled the way they want it to be spelled. And we'll be able to know how many seats will be available in their college. But we're still working on that math. So if you have any questions, I might be able to answer them.
Are there questions for Commissioner Saya? Chair Cuesta.
What is the apportionment per Senate seat for each college based on the population of the college?
It's somewhere on the order of 290 students per seat. The method that we are prescribed to use by the Constitution takes the total number of students in that college, divides it by roughly 290, takes the number with a decimal and cuts off the decimal. So if it's 6 point blah, 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 you get guaranteed 6 senators. And then it takes all the remainders from all of the colleges and ranks them. So the college with the highest remainder gets one of the extra seats first. And then it goes down the list until you're out of extra seats. Because once you cut off the remainders, you don't always add up to 60. That's how that works.
Senator Koch.
What if the number exceeds 60? So let's say you look at the population of each college divided by 290, and then you add it up and it's more than 60.
That is not possible because the number is not actually 290. The number is the total population of students divided by 60.
Got it.
Are there further questions? I have a question. Have you confirmed with all of the students who have not yet attended a meeting?
Mixed results on that.
So you have reached out to some of them and not others?
Not necessarily. We're trying to make sure everyone's trained, you know? I want to see more people on the ballot rather than less. It's touch and go.
Do you happen to know how many haven't attended?
Not off the top of my head, but it's not very many.
Caucus Leader Kidd.
Yeah. So that number that you were talking about, and that gets divided by 60, that is just at the time that we're doing elections. So like, for example, the number base now will be off of spring 23 enrollment. However, if we see increases for fall 23, that still won't matter until, even if we see an increase for fall 24, that still won't matter until election of 2025, right?
That's correct.
Okay, cool.
Senator Shirkey.
So, and correct me if the premise is just wrong, but if I recall, there's like 3 or 4 majors that aren't in like one of the main colleges. Do they have representation in the Senate in any way? If they're like multidisciplinary or something, like multi-college majors, is there any procedures in place to give representation to those?
Not as far as I know.
So if you are in multiple colleges, you get to pick one. Like if you have multiple primary colleges, if you have a primary and a secondary college, you just go with your primary. But if you are in multiple primary colleges, you pick one. Senator Griffith.
Hey, Nick, when are financial reports due?
Friday. Great question. Yes, also known as tomorrow. 5 p.m. If you don't have any expenses, there's still a report link you can turn on the form, click no, and be done in 15 seconds. So do that.
Chair Cuesta.
Where and when will the returns be posted?
You can expect those to be posted on the K-State SGA Instagram. You can also expect them on the website. It's possible that the radio will be involved, but that's TBD.
Senator Shirkey.
So when you press submit here on the website, right, you go to Org Central, and it says on Org Central you should resubmit the form for each, if you're like running for multiple, or like you should submit one form for each office you're running for. But when you click, like when you try to submit it again on Org Central, it doesn't say like, you know, like submitted for a second thing. It just says like resubmitted. Can you see multiple submissions by the same person, or does it overwrite that and only have the most recent?
I can see multiple submissions.
Are there further questions for Commissioner Saya? Seeing none, thank you. Are there further directors that would like to give a report tonight? Speaker Pro Tem Kappelman.
All right, so I have some exciting news for you guys. For those of you who don't know, we now have a new SGA website. So part of this is just to kind of tell you that there is a new website. So go check it out because it was hard work and I hope you guys enjoy it. Also though, there's probably some mistakes in there. I already know the Strategic Oversight Committee says words and stuff. So if you see that, I already know. But if you find anything else, reach out to me and let me know. But yeah, go mess around, check it out. Let me know what you guys think. That's all I got.
Are there questions? Cox Leader Kidd.
Yeah, so the first primary image is great, but where's President Stout in that picture?
You know, he wasn't there at that for that picture. Yeah.
He decided he was too cool for regular Big 12. By that, I mean he had other obligations.
Cool. Just curious. Thank you.
Are there further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Okay, are there further director reports? Seeing none, we will move into final action. First up, we have Bill 232456, amendments to the KSU SGA bylaws to liberate college councils. This was referred favorably, 3-0 to 0. Chair Lynn.
I move to consider Bill 232457 out of order.
Second.
So you want to
do the constitutional amendment first. But if you bulk roll call, then some of them could pass, but we still don't get to the threshold for constitutional amendment. So you can bulk roll call the second,
Second.
but not the first one.
It has been moved and seconded. Seeing no objections, will the author of Bill 57 please come forward? This is amendments to the KSU SGA Constitution to liberate college councils, referred favorably, 3-0 to 0. Have any changes been made?
No. Okay. Great. So, in case you wondered what the business was about this last week and what Peyton did just now, this package of legislation includes a constitutional amendment, and the threshold for a constitutional amendment is extremely high. It requires 3/4 of everyone who has been sworn into the Senate, not just the people that are in the room. What that means is if people are absent and they don't arrange a proxy, then they're almost automatically counted as a no vote on the legislation. Last week, we did not have enough people in the room to pass the legislation. Even if literally everyone in the room agreed, we still wouldn't be able to reach the threshold. So now we have more than that, and we can actually have the conversation. This legislation is pretty straightforward. All it does is separates SGA from the college councils. And I honestly think that there are 3 reasons why you should vote yes tonight. The first is that it does not change the college councils. I think this is the most important point of the debate, because a natural instinct to legislation that involves the college councils is, what is this going to change about them? The answer is nothing. If you agree to this legislation tonight, the college councils that you know and love will be able to operate as they like in the future, right? They're not going to be destroyed or otherwise modified by this legislation. In fact, it gives them more power to operate independently. And that's really the source of this legislation, which is that college councils were supposed to be like state governments or part of SGA. It's not how they work anymore, right? They're independent organizations that deal with matters in their own college on their own. The Engineering Student Council is way more focused on student organizations and really has very little to do with the Student Governing Association as an organization. So it doesn't change college councils, it just lets them operate independently of us and do their own thing. Second reason you should vote for this legislation: it saves us time and it saves us money. First, it saves us a ton of time because a lot of our bureaucratic procedures require approval from the college councils. When we want to install a new senator, if we have a student that's interested, we can't just have the Senate Operations Committee confirm them. We have to have the college council okay it first. And that creates weeks upon weeks of delay that affects students getting into this body and making decisions. But they're also really involved in the constitutional amendment process, as I'm going to touch on in a bit. Every single constitutional amendment we pass and every single constitutional amendment college councils pass have to be approved by the other body, which is a pretty silly process when these two organizations have very little to do with each other anymore. On the money piece, this has to do with my job as elections commissioner. We pay for the elections system that we use, and that includes a lot of functionality to elect college counselors. Many of the college counselors that we elect in our system and that students can file for in our system are elected to office and then never meet throughout the entire year because the college council is not active. What this means is that we are paying K-State IT every single year to elect people that do not serve in office. It is a complete waste of our technology, and I think it'd be better if our election system was a little more economized to the offices that we are actually electing and intend to serve in. So this step would save money over the long term. The final reason why I think you should vote for this is because it gives the college councils a say in the decision. Even if you're skeptical, right? Even if you think, oh, maybe we should wait on what the college councils think before we pass this, this will not go into effect. It cannot go into effect unless the college councils agree to it themselves. It's a constitutional amendment, and it would be, in this universe, the last constitutional amendment to cross their desk. They have to say yes before anything happens.
Speaker's time for debate has expired.
Vote yes.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there debate in the negative? Is there further debate in the positive? Chair Long.
The Engineering Caucus had a lovely open forum with the College of Engineering earlier today. There were 4 people there, which was actually a great success considering what we were expecting. But among them was the president and vice president of Engineering Student Council, a group that we are in this case liberating. Thank you, Nick, for that word choice. And during that conversation, we effectively asked, are you okay with this? And the answer was resoundingly yes. What we care about is things that affect our college. We want to know when something happens that's going to affect the College of Engineering. The one that she had recently gotten, Morgan Wood, small president of VSC, had gotten was about APD senators and what they could run for. And she said, this does not matter to us. We do not care about this. This is not our business. What we do care about is things that are actually affecting our college. So the Engineering Student Council and those individuals support this situation, and like Nick said, it cannot actually happen unless they see it first and say yes as well. Oh, yes.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there debate in the negative? Question of privilege?
Yes.
How many of, if anybody knows, how many of the councils have to approve this? All of them?
2/3.
2/3?
2/3.
Of the active ones, or of
All.
2/3 of all of them.
all the ones that exist, or literally every college?
All of the colleges.
Is that 6 or 7?
Okay, yeah. I have a point of privilege.
Yes.
How many of the college councils are actually like operating right now? Do you know?
5.
Out of
Senator Shirkey.
Point of privilege, question of privilege. There's a map issue here. So what do when 5 of the councils at most respond and say yes, and we need 6?
So all of the college councils are elected. Or some of them are. Oh, do you have an answer, Nick?
Yes. So if a college council doesn't exist or they don't respond, second of which being extremely likely, then it comes back to us and you meet as a caucus and decide for your council.
Oh, okay.
Wait, for every, oh, so only
For the ones that didn't respond.
The ones who don't respond. So the ones that are active do get a say, and the ones that are not active or don't exist, the caucus meets. Senator Shirkey?
Do we have 6 functioning caucuses in this body?
Yes. So all of our caucuses are functioning, except for VetMed. Yes.
How many weeks do we have to wait from it being sent to it coming back to a caucus?
6.
6 weeks?
Yes. No, it can go through terms.
It can go through terms.
Yeah, as long as it's passed by this body. Which is the next caucus. will have-
So for clarification with the conversation that's happening at the front of the room, for those college councils that don't respond, if it is passed by this body, it will come back to the caucuses, but we have to wait 6 weeks for them to not respond. So that would go into next term, but that's allowed to happen as long as it is passed by this body. Are there any further questions? I understand that constitutional amendments don't happen very often. Senator Griffith.
Okay, so there are other constitutional amendments that we will be debating and discussing. Assuming this passes, what happens to those ones that require the college councils? Assuming they're liberated in the process of being ratified by the caucus, by the council.
Chair Blood.
They are not liberated until they are ratified by the college councils and/or college caucuses, and therefore any constitutional amendment that is passed by this body up until 2/3 of the college councils and/or caucuses ratify it will be subject to the same ratification, even once it is ratified.
Are there further questions? Want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. If not, is there further debate in the negative? Further debate in the positive? And is there any further debate at all? Senator Mason, is it positive or negative?
Negative.
Okay.
All right, this is my first time up here, so I'm nervous. My bad. All right, so I just wanted to come up here to kind of express what we kind of had as an opinion in the Dean Student Advisory Council of the College of Business. So essentially what we were kind of talking about is what happens to the representation of students once the Dean Student Advisory Council is disconnected from SGA. So our main problem came with electing new senators. So once there's an absent senator and we need to elect a new one, what happens to elect a new one? And the answer is usually, you know, the caucus kind of just decides like, okay, we're gonna nominate this new person, we're gonna like elect them, and like that what is kind of what is going to happen from now on. And our problem is that there's not as much representation there's not as much representation of the entire student body from the friend groups of a college caucus. Not as much representation compared to DSAC. So in our Dean Student Advisory Council, every single president of every single organization has a spot on DSAC, and that's representation of our entire college. So even for me, I don't know any of my senators like before this, like outside of Senate. All of the senators I came in knowing as strangers, so I would have never been elected personally. So it kind of seems like having the election of a new senator be built on the opinions of a college caucus seems more in the lines of nepotism. But that was just kind of what we talked about. I'm not necessarily in disagreement with this bill. I definitely agree with the other parts of it. I just think that, especially when it comes to electing new senators, there's definitely a conversation to be had on what kinds of representation of the student body we get outside of the caucus, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Thank you. Seeing as that was debate in the negative, is there further debate in the positive? Senator Saya.
So I just wanted to respond really quickly to that debate because I think it brings up a very good point, which is what happens to the College of Business and how do we appoint people in the future. First of all, I want to emphasize that this doesn't affect the colleges, even if the college councils have Senate members, as the Dean Student Advisory Council in the College of Business does, right? They have SGA senators that serve as their membership. This doesn't affect that at all, right? The senators from the College of Business are still members of the Dean Student Advisory Council. But the second point that I think is more important is how do we appoint people, right? The college councils are supposed to be representative bodies, right, that balance their college and would be best placed to nominate people. And I think you're right on that. That's why the colleges or the college councils that operate well, like the Dean Student Advisory Council and the Graduate Student Council, are historically really involved in putting forward candidates for office. They're still a very good resource for the Senate Operations Committee to tap into to find students for office. I would reject the idea that it's just going to be people picking out their friends for office. All this means is that for the colleges that don't work well, like the Health and Human Sciences College Caucus, Brian, as the chair of the Senate Operations Committee, doesn't have to sit and wait for 4 weeks or however long he's obligated to listen to a person that will never respond to him to put forward a name. It makes the process faster on their end, but absolutely still keeps DSAC as a resource for potential vacancies in the College of Business. So I think that's a very good point, but I don't think it's something that we should be concerned with for this legislation.
Senator Shirkey, is that a question of privilege?
I don't know the technical term. I guess I kind of wanted to ask Saya a question. I don't know. Are questions allowed for debating?
No.
Okay, then no, there's not.
You can turn around and ask him, though. Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there further debate in the negative? Is there further debate in the positive? Is there any further debate at all? Seeing none, we will go into a roll call vote.
All right. So just a reminder, you can vote yes, no, abstain. You cannot abstain.
You cannot abstain on a constitutional amendment. An abstention is a no vote.
Cool. All right. Bellamy. Biggs.
Yes.
Blood.
Yes.
Broughton.
Yes.
Bruckner.
Yes.
Koch.
Yes.
Compton.
Yes.
Cuesta.
Yes.
Cup.
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Drotz.
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Dunce. Fogel.
Yes.
Glasscock.
Yes.
Griffith.
Yes.
Haynes. Heatherman. Hesseltine.
Yes.
Hoffmans.
Come back to me for a second.
Hulse.
Yes.
Hundley.
Yes, by proxy.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Kirchen,
Yes.
Kidd,
Yes.
Kermer,
Yes.
Kinsey,
Yes, by proxy.
Lee,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes, by proxy.
Long,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Melcher,
Yes, by proxy.
Moore,
Yes.
O'Malley,
Yes, by proxy.
Oury,
Yes.
Pelton,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Rios,
Yes, by proxy.
Rivard,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yeah.
Syatt Carly,
Yes, by proxy.
Syatt Nick,
Yes.
Salmon,
Yes.
Shirkley,
Yes.
Streetman, Strunk,
Yes.
Sushanik,
Yes.
West,
Yes, by proxy.
Winger, Wolf, and Zacko.
Yes.
Going around to pass. Hoffman.
What number is this? I have no clue. Like, what's the?
This is
Bill
Bill
66. Or,
66.
oh, sorry.
57.
57.
It's 57. It is Bill 57.
Hoffman's is a no then.
No.
Chair Long?
Senator Heatherman's mic went on and off. Did we get her vote?
I did not.
I said pass.
Oh,
it might not have been picked up, but I'm a yes.
I'll go through one more time for people we might have missed. Dunce, Haynes, Streetman, and Wolf. Bill 232457 will fail on a vote of 44 to 1 to 0. We're one vote short.
No. No. It needs 39.
It needs 39.
We counted very specifically.
That's not what my thing's telling me, but that's good then. Then it passes.
2/3, right?
It's 3/4 of 51.
I'm just seeing what I'm seeing, but I do.
Chair Blood?
We have currently 51 senators selected and qualified. Of that, 3/4 is 39. Therefore, with 44 yes votes, passes.
Seconded.
Okay, so that will pass on a vote of 44 to 1. Okay, up next we have, going back into regular order, Bill 232456. Senator Griffith.
I move to bulk roll call Bill 56 and 58.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to bulk roll call 56 and 58. Will the author please come forward?
This is the same thing, but easier to pass. It would be weird if you voted no.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there any debate in the negative? Further debate in the positive? Is there any further debate at all? Seeing none, Pro Tem Kappelman will take it away with a roll call vote.
Bellamy. Biggs.
Yes.
Blood.
Yes to all.
Broughton.
Yes to both.
Bruckner.
Yes to both.
Koch.
Yes to all.
Compton.
Yes to both.
Cuesta.
Yes to all.
Cup.
Yes to all.
Dennis.
Yes to both.
Drotz.
Yes to both by proxy.
Dunce. Fogel.
Yes to both of them.
Glasscock.
Yes to all.
Griffith.
Yes to both.
Haynes. Heatherman.
Sorry, I've had my hand raised, but I needed to clarify, did we bulk in debate for both bills at the same time?
Yes.
Because normally we would have debate and then we'd say, Bill 58 now. I had an amendment for Bill 58, the statute bill, that even though that we didn't remove the college council's constitutions from the statutes. So can we also strike chapters 10 through 18?
What section?
Section of the statutes? Or
yeah, or what line on the bill?
Not a specific line, but can we add, even as like a friendly, since it's non-substantive, before, I guess it would be new section 6, that chapters 10 through 18 of the statutes are struck from their entirety.
Senator Saya.
We have that already in section 1 of Bill 58. Chapters 10 through 18 of the Kansas State University Student.
Oh, I see it. I'm so sorry. I have COVID and I'm like halfway hanging on through this, so sorry I missed it.
No.
Thank you. My vote's yes to both.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hesseltine.
Yes to both.
Hoffman's. Holtz.
Yes to both.
Hunley.
Yes to both.
Jacobson.
Yes to all.
Kirchen.
Yes to all.
Kidd.
Yes to both.
Kinsey.
Or all, or whatever, yes to all.
Kermer.
Yes to both.
Kinsey.
Yes to all by proxy.
Lee.
Yes to both.
Lilly. Lilly. Long.
Yes to both.
Lynn.
Yes to both.
Mason.
Yes to both.
Just really quickly, Heatherman, you still have your hand raised, or?
I do not. I'll take it down.
Okay.
Melcher.
Yes to both by proxy.
Moore.
Yes to both.
O'Malley.
Yes to both.
Oury.
Yes to both.
Pelton.
Yes to both.
Peterson.
Yes to both.
Rios.
Yes to both by proxy.
Rivard.
Yes to both.
Rogers.
Yes to both.
Syed Carly.
Yes to both.
Syed Nick.
Yes to both.
Salmon.
Yes to both.
Shirkley.
Yes to both. Point of information, it's sure key, there's no L.
Oh, thank you. Streetman. Strunk.
Yes to both.
Sushanik.
Yes to both.
West. Winger. West.
Abstain by proxy.
Winger. Wolf. And Zacco.
Yes to both, and Hoffman's is no to both.
And what is the list? Bill 232456 will pass on a vote of 43 to 1 to 1. And Bill 232458 will also pass on a vote of 43 to 1 to 1.
Okay, we will now move on to Bill 232466, amendments to the KSU SGA Constitution regarding non-discrimination. Will the author please come forward?
No changes were made in committee, by the way.
You have first rights to debate.
Okay. So this amendment to the Constitution is really pretty simple in my opinion. It got brought up in one of my committee meetings that nowhere in the SGA Constitution or the Student Bill of Rights does it actually codify that students have a right to not be discriminated against. We thought that that was pretty simple thing that should actually get written down somewhere as a right given to students by virtue of being students at K-State, that they shouldn't be discriminated against. We ripped the language straight off of the K-State's notice of non-discrimination, so obviously it's something that the university is already supporting in different ways. We just wanted to make sure that as student government and in the Student Bill of Rights that we actually had some language identifying that. So vote yes on this, please.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there any debate in the negative? Is there further debate in the positive? Senator Shirkey.
Senator Lynn was very diplomatic, or sorry, Chair Lynn was very diplomatic in the way
Try
that
not to refer to previous speakers, by the way. Just a heads up.
Thank you. The previous speaker was very diplomatic in the way that they voiced this bill. I will not be if you oppose this. You're going to hell. This bill.
I'm also going to ask you to refrain from language like that.
Yes, Ms. Speaker, Madam Speaker. So it's obvious. Yeah, this is supported in the KSU Constitution. It's 2024. I was really surprised when I saw this bill that we didn't already have this. You should totally vote yes.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there further debate in the negative? Is there further debate in the positive? Is there any further debate at all? Seeing none, we will move into a roll call vote.
Bellamy. Biggs. Blood.
Yes.
Broughton.
Yeah.
Bruckner.
Yes.
Koch.
Yes.
Compton.
Yeah.
Cuesta.
Yes.
Cup. Dennis.
Yes.
Drotz.
Yes, by proxy.
Dunce. Fogel.
Yes.
Glasscock.
Yes.
Griffith.
Yes.
Haynes. Heatherman.
Yes.
Hesseltine.
Yes.
Hoffmans. Hulse.
Yeah.
Hunley.
Yes.
Jacobson.
No.
Kirchen.
Enthusiastic, yes.
Kidd.
Yes.
Kermer.
Yes.
Kinsey.
Yes, by proxy.
Lee.
Yes.
Lilly.
Oh, yes, by proxy.
Long.
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes.
Mason.
Yes.
Melcher.
Yes, by proxy.
Moore.
Yes.
O'Malley.
Yes.
Oury.
Yes.
Helton.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Rios. Rivard.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yeah.
Syed Carly.
Yes.
Syed Nick.
Yes.
Salmon.
Yes.
Shirkey.
Yes.
Straitman. Strunk.
Yes.
Sushanik.
Yes.
West.
Yes by proxy.
Winger. Wolf. And Zacko.
Yes, and Hoffman's is also a yes.
Thank you. For Rios? Yeah.
Yeah, Rios is yes by proxy.
Okay, thank you. All right. Bill 232466 will pass on a vote of 41 to 1 to 0.
Okay, seeing as we have exhausted final action, Chair Lynn.
I move to discharge Resolution 232464 from committee.
Objection.
Second.
Okay.
It has been moved, seconded, and objected to discharge Bill.
Resolution 23.
Resolution 64 from committee. So we are going to go into a hand vote since it was objected. If you would, this is the condemnation to K-State athletics. If you would like to compel it, please raise your placards now. Proxies raised 2. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, that will be compelled. Chair Lynn,
I have an amendment to Resolution 232464.
did you send it to Ethan?
Yeah, oh, I sent it to you. Do I need to send it to Ethan?
I will forward it to Ethan.
Okay.
Heatherman, you had a hand up. What's up? Senator Heatherman.
Senator Heatherman. Was your hand an accident, Senator Heatherman? State that amendment.
So the amendment is up on the screen to amend the original title. The new language is highlighted. So request of K-State Athletics regarding men's basketball would be the new title. This amendment would also strike line 54 and 55. Following the alteration, students were not provided the opportunity to resell their season tickets back to K-State Athletics. It would also strike the word inadequate in line 51, and then change the language in section 1 of Be It Resolved from condemns K-State Athletics for the creation of the new student ticket claim process to request K-State Athletics reconsider the changes made to the men's basketball student ticket claim process. Everything else is the same.
Chair Cuesta.
Can the parliamentarian scroll to the top of the banner?
Hey Carson, can you speak up a little bit more, please?
Yes. Is there a reason that it is request of instead of recommendation to?
No, we can say recommendation 2. That's fine. That would be friendly, I think.
Okay, friendly amendment to change it. A friendly amendment was made to change it to recommendation to rather than request of, because recommendation is what we typically do. Chair Broughton.
There was another friendly amendment that was sort of made in committee that didn't end up getting put in this because of all the thing that happened. But on line 24, it says possession of student pass. It was asked that season was inserted between those, so it was possession of student season pass. Right?
Yeah. That would also be friendly.
Chair Long.
Could we see the whereas clause changes, please? The whereas clause.
Yeah, good point.
Ethan, it would just be line 44 for the whereas clause changes. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, okay, so lines 44, 45, and then 51 is where the whereas clause changes would be.
Coordinator Hoffman.
Yeah, can you explain why you made those whereas changes?
Yeah, so for line 44, when we had Gene Taylor come speak to Senate last week, he did specifically mention that students had the opportunity to get a refund on their student passes for basketball. So I'm inclined to believe him on that, and I didn't want to make a claim that I thought had been proven false. And then for line 51, I thought inadequate communication was just a little bit harsh, and the point still got across by striking that word. Were there other ones you wanted me to explain?
No, that's...
Okay.
Senator Shirkey, did you have a point?
No, that was an internal discussion with my awesome colleague here who knows everything.
Sounds good. Chair Cuesta.
Can the being enacted clause also match the title?
Yeah.
It says request.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Both the title and the be it enacted will be friendly amended to recommendation rather than request. Are there further questions? Seeing none, we will move into a vote on the amendment.
The amendment should be debatable, correct?
Oh, yep. You have first rights to debate.
Okay. So the reason that I wanted to make sure that this resolution got discharged but then subsequently amended is because I think that the sentiment really is something that we have a responsibility to reflect from our body. However, I do think that when we provide those sentiments, especially to our administration, we have a responsibility to do so maybe in a more respectful and kind way. I thought that most of the whereas clauses were fine, honestly, and I think that the sentiment is really important that we get across. Just a couple of those language changes that I think keep the spirit of the legislation, but maybe make those requests in a bit of a kinder way was appropriate for this resolution. So vote yes on the amendment, please.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive on the amendment, is there any debate in the negative? Coordinator Hoffman.
Not a whole lot of like negative debate. I just think that it is somewhat silly to keep this bill is doing the same thing, but to only change the title of it to make it nicer to administration, I think is I guess I just don't agree with it. But vote for it how you will. The amendments are fine.
Seeing as that was debate in the negative, I'm seeking speeches in the positive. Chair Broughton.
Yeah, this resolution came to my committee on Monday, and we had a lot of good debate on it, actually, and it was determined that the main goal of this was to get the K-State Athletics to recognize that this was an issue. From what we've heard, we had a bunch of people come in and speak on behalf of K-State Athletics, and they said that K-State Athletics got the message. They did not need to be reprimanded. Like, they got the message. They understand that things need to change. And so the whole point of changing this is to make it so that we're not condemning them. That seems so hostile. This is not meant to be hostile. It's meant to convey an opinion that things need to change, and they got the message. So these amendments convey that clearly, and I think that you should vote yes for this because of that.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive on the amendment, is there further debate in the negative on the amendment? Is there further debate in the positive for the amendment? Is there any further debate at all? Seeing none, we will move into a hand vote on the amendment. All those in favor of adopting this amendment, please raise your placards now. Proxies raised 2. All opposed, same sign. Okay, the amendment will be adopted. We will now move into debate on the bill itself. Will the author please come forward? You have first rights to debate.
Awesome. Yeah, I think this bill is like a previous speaker for the amendment said, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're just trying to express students' opinions about how K-State Athletics went about the rule change, the rule change for the ticket claim process. I mean, I think I'll let the bill speak for itself. Vote how you feel.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there debate in the negative on the bill? Senator Fogel.
Just a point of information, have we discharged this bill yet, or are we?
Yes.
Discharged it, okay, I missed that vote, thank you.
Yes, there was a hand vote on discharging. After there was a motion, a second, and an objection. Is there any debate in the negative on the bill as is? Is there further debate in the positive? And is there any further debate at all? Senator Shirkey?
I do have debate in the negative.
In the negative?
The evidence that was collected in this resolution shows that the student body at large is strongly in favor of the text of the resolution. However, as a resolution, this is meaningless. If we as a body want to help our constituents to cause an effect that is positive for them in regards to our relationship with K-State athletics, we should either be passing a stronger bill, or if that's not the right move, then we should be having dialogue as a body. Maybe we should be setting up a committee, maybe we should be communicating with athletics to resolve the situation in an amicable manner. This resolution does none of that, so it wastes the body's time. Please vote no.
Seeing as that was debate in the negative, is there further debate in the positive? Senator Glasscock?
Yeah, I was really against the wording of this bill initially, just because it strains that relationship between us and the administration. But with the amendment, I'm really in favor of us passing a resolution that was written by our interns and that really got the attention of administration and K-State athletics. I think that putting it forward shows that we're still invested in this conversation and that we still want to be involved in that. And so I would really be in favor of, I think that this should be passed just because it shows that we are invested in this conversation and that we really want to make sure that we are taking care of the student body and their opinions. So vote yes.
Oh, get your name placard. Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there further debate in the negative? Is there further debate in the positive? And is there any further debate at all? Seeing none, as this is a resolution, we will move into a hand vote. All those in favor of passing this resolution as amended, raise your placards now. Proxies raised 2. All opposed, same sign. That will pass. Seeing as we have exhausted final action, we will move into introduction of legislation. First up, we have Resolution 232465. Is there a motion to consider?
I move to consider.
Senator Koch.
I move to consider Resolution 65.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Will the author please come forward? It has been moved, seconded, and objected. So we will go into a hand vote on the consideration of Resolution 65. All those in favor, raise your placards now. Proxies raised 2. This is just for considering. This is not on the bill or on the resolution, just on considering. All opposed, same sign. Will the author please come forward?
Resolution 232465, recommendation to the government of the state of Kansas regarding her flag. Authors Vivian Griffiths. Whereas Kansas State University is located within the state of Kansas. Whereas the state of Kansas has a flag. Whereas Kansas's flag ranks consistently in the bottom third of state flags. Whereas the states of Utah, Minnesota, Massachusetts, and Mississippi have all had flags that were consistently ranked in the bottom third. Whereas Utah, Minnesota, and Mississippi have all redesigned their flags. Whereas Massachusetts is currently in the process of redesigning their flag. Whereas a redesigned flag can be used to bolster tourism, showcase our history, and sell merchandise. Whereas a new flag will make Kansas stand out more in a collection of flags, and whereas adopting a new flag will give all Kansans a new shared identity. Be it resolved that Section 1, the Kansas State University Student Governing Association believes that the state of Kansas should begin the process of redesigning the flag of Kansas. Whereas KSU SGA believes the redesign process should be near identical to the ones performed by the governments of Mississippi, Utah, and Minnesota. Whereas upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the student body president, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to University President Dr. Richard H. Linton, Governor of Kansas Laura Kelly, Lieutenant Governor of Kansas and Kansas Secretary of Commerce David Toland, Kansas Secretary of Administration Adam Proffitt, Kansas Secretary of Revenue Mark Burghardt, President of the Kansas Senate Ty Masterson, Vice President of the Kansas Senate Rick Wilburn, Kansas Senate Majority Leader Larry Allen, Kansas Senate Minority Leader Dina Sykes, Speaker of the Kansas House Daniel Hawkins, Kansas Speaker Pro Tem Blake Carpenter, Kansas House Majority Leader Chris Croft, Kansas House Minority Leader Vic Miller, U.S. Senator Jerry Moran, U.S. Senator Roger Marshall, U.S. Representative for the 1st District of Kansas Tracy Mann, U.S. Representative for the 2nd District of Kansas Jake LaTurner, U.S. Representative for the 3rd District of Kansas Sharice Davids, U.S. Representative for the 4th District of Kansas Ron Estes, Director of the Collegian Media Group David Levy, Kansas State Government and Politics reporter for the Kansas City Star Katie Bernard, and Politics Editor for the Kansas City Star Brian Lowry. So, obviously, as I stated, the state of Kansas has a flag, and this is it. Now, is it one of the worst flags in the Union? Debatably.
I like it.
But this is just a feel on a bed sheet. There are
Question of privilege.
many.
Yes, Chair Blood.
Is debate allowed right now?
No.
No, it is not.
So, yeah, you're just supposed to read it and then stand for questions. During introduction. Debate will happen next week. Are there questions? Senator Koch.
Yeah, whenever looking at like vacation spots, have you ever looked at a state flag before deciding that's where you wanted to go on vacation?
Well, what I mean by bolster tourism, it means it's going to the fact that, hey, we're redesigning our flag is going to put us more in the news. And then that is going to increase appeal of our state. And then that, in turn, will appeal attention. Bam, tourism.
Caucus Leader Kidd.
Lines 49 through 51, is there a reason why the title case isn't consistent? So Kansas State Government and Politics reporter, why is that not capitalized?
It wasn't on the Kansas City Star. It wasn't capitalized on their website.
So then so they were cool with it not being, yeah, okay.
Senator O'Malley.
Can I get a number as to how many other K-State students you talked to who agreed with you that we should copy Mississippi, Utah, Minnesota? And if you think that number is big enough to warrant a statement on behalf of all K-State students?
Well, for one, it's just of the Student Governing Association, but also, like, no one thinks about the flag of Kansas. And one of the reasons is because of how boring it is. And so that's why I think we should do it.
Follow up?
Granted.
Yeah, as to like, did you talk with anyone who agreed with you that should be Mississippi, Utah, Minnesota?
Those are the 3 states that redesigned that did the flag redesign process. That's why I selected those 3. It was like that it was open to commissions. People from all across the state sent in their redesigns. Then a committee of their legislator got together, debated them, picked some, and then put it to a public ballot.
I completely understand that. I'm just wondering if you
Sorry, keep it within questions that are called on. Senator Shrieky.
Would you please read the, sorry, this is a question. Yeah. So, would you please read the first name that is given in section 3 on line 38?
University President Dr. Richard H. Linton.
Follow-up. Would you please read the second name?
Governor of Kansas Laura Kelly.
Follow-up. Would you please read the third name?
Sorry, is there a point to?
Yes, there is.
Okay, get there quickly, please.
The Lieutenant Governor and Secretary of Commerce David Toland.
So, follow-up, the real question. Do you think that either of these 3 people, or of the many other names in this bill in section 3, do you believe that they are going to prioritize a statewide legislative process to change the flag in 2024 when our state government and our university has far more relevant and impactful legislation they're considering?
Just because it's not the most relevant doesn't mean it's not necessary or even just something we want to do.
Also, let's try to keep our questions non-debate-like. Thank you. Senator Zach, go.
Why, sorry, can you scroll up a little, or down? Up, sorry. Sorry. Okay, why did you include the part on line 27 that, like, what's the need for Kansans needing a new shared identity, I guess?
I just wanted something to, like, a line to wrap it all up, and I thought that having a new shared identity with a new flag is a good thing.
Senator Lee.
Can you help me understand our place in recommending a new flag for the state of Kansas compared to the People's House in Topeka with the state legislature to decide that process?
This is just us saying, hey, this is something we think is important. And as people who live in the state of Kansas, we are, of course, their constituents. And so what we want from them matters. Whether or not they actually decide to do any of this is well out of my control.
Oh, can I follow up with that?
Someone with the Zoom has their hand raised.
Yeah, I'm not going to do follow-ups while I still have hands up. Senator Kirshen.
Hello, sorry. This is more a question of ignorance on my own part. Does this body have a history of sending our own resolutions and bills? Oh, well, not bills, just resolutions to our state government? Is this more or less something that is within our ability? It's not that I'm not in favor of the resolution. It's just more, well, I mean, like I said, ignorance on my part.
Yeah, so I will answer that. I think that this is something that has been done within the purview of this body before. I would say that it is typically regarding education policy, but I would not grant it outside of the purview of this body.
I mean, one time we sent a commendation to the Secretary General of the UN.
Senator Fogel.
Yeah, Senator, I think this is a really interesting idea. I would wonder if you had considered changing the K-State flag, the purple one right next to the Kansas flag. I think that process seems a little bit easier, and it also, in my opinion, is not super creative, and I feel like we've got some creative folks at the school who might have ideas about that. Have we considered that process?
Senator Fogel, I would say that is outside of the scope of the resolution.
Can I still answer that?
No. Coordinator Hoffman, did you still have a question?
No.
Senator O'Malley.
In your opinion, do you think it could at all be a bad idea to introduce this a couple days, or I guess one day ahead of the governor coming to campus? Did that cross your mind as
to answer that, this has actually been written before Governor Kelly was known to be coming here.
Okay, are there further questions? Senator Lee.
With Section 3 of the Be Resolved clauses, did you have prior communication with the elected officials in the Senate, in the state legislature, and in Congress about this piece of legislation?
They have not responded to me.
Caucus Leader Kidd.
Sorry, so I'm going back to lines 49 through 51. So the style of writing that the Kansas City Star uses is why it's in sentence case, but for this sense of the legislation, I think it should still be title case. Can that be a friendly, is this the time for about a friendly amendment?
Yeah.
Thank you.
If it's a font issue, then it's a font issue. This is a different font, so that's fine.
Okay, are there further questions for the author? Seeing none, thank you. Chair Blood.
Move to postpone Resolution 65 indefinitely.
Second.
So there has been a motion to postpone Resolution 65 indefinitely, and a second. This would mean that it would have to be that we is essentially killing the bill. Are there any objections?
I object.
Okay. It's 2/3.
We need to vote on considering the motion first, which is 50%, and then it is debatable.
Okay.
We have to vote. The objection is not debatable. We have to vote on that first.
So we're first going to vote on whether to consider the motion to postpone indefinitely, and then we will vote on the motion to postpone indefinitely if it is considered. So if you would like to entertain the motion to postpone indefinitely, please raise your placards now. Proxies raise 2. All opposed, same sign. I think that does pass. So now, is it debatable?
It is.
Okay, so the motion to postpone indefinitely is debatable. Seeing as you made the motion, you have first rights to debate.
I made the motion to, or I objected to even the consideration of this. I don't think our body should have considered this, and I absolutely don't think that it deserves any more time within our legislative process. The argument makes no sense to me. It does not feel well thought out. I personally really like our flag, have a very big sense of identity with it, and do not think it is in any place and nor our duty to make such a statement. I also want to make a comment on the fact that we say the Kansas State Student Governing Association. That means every single student at this university who pays the student services fee. That is not everyone in this room. That is not everyone who signs up on Org Central that says they're part of the Student Governing Association. That is basically every single student on this campus, and we're saying they agree with this. I don't think we have any evidence that that's anywhere near the case, and I think given that, we should not even have this go to a committee, have this continue within our body, and it needs to be postponed and just stopped right now.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive on the motion to postpone indefinitely, is there debate in the negative? Senator Griffith.
Well, I can say that this is not exactly something I thought that I'd be doing here, but I believe that this is something that is worth discussing, and just killing it immediately, I don't jive with it. I believe that our flag needs change, and I believe that if we want to actually go through the process, if we want to, I think, is a perfect example of our ability to recommend things. Whether or not the government actually decides to is irrelevant. I want a different flag, and I think that's something that other people here want. And to just say there's no merit to it, to immediately kill it, not even send it to a committee for them to decide whether or to have us debate on it, aid on it here. I don't think that this is a resolution. I do not believe that we should postpone this indefinitely.
Seeing as that was debate in the negative on the motion to postpone indefinitely, is there further debate in the positive? Senator Strunk.
Hey guys, while I agree with the previous speaker's point that this body should have the ability to recommend things to our state legislators, I do not feel as though recommending that we change our state flag really fits that bill, and I think that would be a little bit of an abuse of our power to do so in recommending things. We should reserve that for things that we feel are very important, and I don't feel that changing our state flag reaches that threshold. Thanks.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there debate in the negative? Chair Cuesta.
You know what? I have personal reservations about changing the way our flag looks, because I think it does look good. I think that that it's, I would say, kind of an insult to our legislative process to not do the work behind a bill. And by that I mean many previous speakers have brought up the point that we don't have enough information on what the general body of K-State students believes. They have brought up, that this bill is maybe not, or this resolution is maybe not fully thought through. Maybe it's not where it needs to be at the end. And I think the best way to do that is by sending it to a committee and having them work the bill, having them look at the bill, and having them making their determination based on whether or not they think we should see it again. But I don't think that what we should do is kill it instantly without having those conversations. I think that's really important to the work that we do here, and eliminating it before it's had its day in court, I don't think is something that we should engage in. So I would encourage you to let it be sent to a committee and not to pass this motion. So thank you.
Seeing as that was debate in the negative on the motion to postpone indefinitely, is there further debate in the positive? Senator Zacko.
I'm going to be really quick because this is taking too long, in my opinion. But I feel like I speak for a lot of people here, at least the ones that I've been talking to during previous speakers' debate. I don't think this is within the authority of our body to be able to make this recommendation to state legislators over the design of our flag, which I personally really like. I don't think it's a good use of our time. So, yeah, that's all.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there further debate in the negative? Chair Long.
I have not thought one single iota of time or spent any time thinking about the Kansas state flag or the state of Kansas flag since, I don't know, 7th grade. I couldn't care less if we changed it. Personally, I'll be voting no if the bill ever actually comes to the floor. What I'm debating no on now is the precedent of saying if we don't like something, we're going to kill it indefinitely, postpone it indefinitely, kill the bill, saying this idea is not even worth the debate and merit process that we put everything else through. That is somehow lower than any other bill that we have seen for the entirety of, I can't remember how long. Why do we not even vote on something? Because we think it is so harmful and bad to our process that we don't think the Senate should even debate or have the option of passing it. Can you, truthfully, honest before God or whoever else you would like, tell me that this fits the qualifications for so bad that we don't even want to have debate or discussion on it? Do I think this is a good idea? No. But do I think this fits the level of qualifications for postponing indefinitely, for killing? It's a violent word, but it's effectively what we're doing to this. No. Don't postpone it indefinitely. Let's have it, as previous speaker said, day in court next week. It needs to be workshopped. It needs to be changed. Vote no.
Seeing as that was debate in the negative, is there further debate in the positive on the motion? Is there further debate in the negative? Is there any further debate at all?
Someone raise their hand again.
Senator Kirshen.
Hi there. I have a debate in the negative.
Okay.
Thank you. I personally believe that I would like to see this bill again. I do not think that it should be postponed indefinitely. I would like it to see it be worked a bit more, as previous staters have spoken on. I would like to see maybe a poll sent out to the students of the campus or something along those lines. So that way there can be a more fully developed opinion on this. While some previous speakers have noted that maybe this isn't the most pressing matter to be sent to our state legislature, I do think that if we want to maybe set a precedent for sending our own bills, thoughts, and ideas to them, that why not having some sort of, if not just a poll or a survey sent to them on something as simple as a flag change. I personally believe that's a great place to start and is well within the power of a student governing association. Thank you.
Seeing as that was debate in the negative, is there further debate in the positive? Is there further debate in the negative? And is there any further debate at all? Okay, we are going to go into a hand vote on the motion to postpone indefinitely. If you would like to postpone this indefinitely, please raise your placards now. Proxies raised 2. All opposed, same sign.
Division.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a motion for a roll call, which will need 15 placards. So if you're in favor of a roll call, please raise your placard now. That's 15. Reminder, this is on the motion to postpone indefinitely. Voting yes means you would like to postpone it indefinitely. Voting no means you would like this to be referred to a committee and come back in final action to debate on the bill next week.
All right. Bellamy. Biggs.
Yes.
Blood.
Yes.
Broughton.
No.
Bruckner.
Yes.
Koch.
Yes.
Compton.
No.
Cuesta.
No.
Cup.
No.
Dennis.
No.
Drotz.
Yes, by proxy.
Dunce.
No, by proxy.
Fogel.
Nope.
Glasscock.
No.
Griffith.
No.
Haynes. Heatherman. Hesseltine. Can you repeat that?
Yes, sorry.
Hoffmans.
Yes.
Hulse.
Yes.
Hundley.
Yes, by proxy.
Jacobson.
No.
Kirchen.
No.
Kidd.
Yes.
Kermer.
Pass.
Kinsey.
Yes, by proxy.
Lee.
No.
Lilly.
Pass by proxy.
Long.
No.
Lynn.
No.
Mason.
Yes.
Melcher.
Pass.
Moore.
Yes.
O'Malley.
Yes.
Oury.
Abstain.
Pelton.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Rios.
Pass by proxy.
Rivard.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yeah.
Syatt Carly.
No. By proxy.
Syatt Nick.
No.
Salmon.
No.
Shirky.
No.
Streetman. Strunk.
Yes.
Sushanik.
Yes.
West.
No by proxy.
Winger. Wolf.
No.
Zacko.
Yes.
All right, going back to passes. Kermer.
Yes.
Lilly.
Yes by proxy.
Melcher.
No by proxy.
Oh. Melcher.
Yes by proxy.
Rios.
Oh. Pass by proxy.
We already passed it.
Oh.
You can abstain. Okay. All right. This motion will pass on a vote of 23 to 21 to 2.
If the abstains would have voted no, I would have gotten to break my first tie.
Wait, was
Okay, so that will be postponed indefinitely. We will move on to Bill 232467, Amendment to the KSU SGA Comprehensive Plan. Is there a motion to consider? Senator Shirky?
I move to consider 232474 out of order, if that's the place if that's like the legal place to do this.
Is there a reason?
Because it's like a funding bill, and it seems like it's important, and for a department funding, it seems like it should be a priority of ours.
I object.
Yeah.
We have a long docket today.
Senator Koch?
I move to consider Bill 67 in order. Second.
Do you withdraw your motion, Senator Shirky?
Yeah.
Okay. Typically, considering things out of order is for if an author has to leave or if there is some reason that we need to see if something will pass. We will get through the entire docket. Okay, seeing as there was a motion and a second, will the author of 67 please come forward?
All right, this is Bill 232467, Amendment to the KSU SGA Comprehensive Plan. Whereas KSU SGA is obligated to advocate on behalf of the KSU student body. Whereas career development is an integral part of a student's university experience. Whereas KSU should provide a unique set of resources to prepare students for a successful career after graduation. Whereas, despite KSU's commitment to academic excellence, there is a gap in providing students with the necessary tools and guidance to effectively navigate their potential career paths and succeed in the increasingly competitive job market. Whereas, this deficiency in career development hinders students' abilities to make informed career decisions, obtain internships and full-time careers, and ultimately achieve their professional goals. Whereas, addressing this issue is critical for ensuring that KSU graduates are well prepared for their careers during and after their time at KSU, and whereas, improving the reach and resources available at the K-State Career Center will allow students to better succeed in finding a career after graduation. Be it enacted that Section 1, KSU SGA shall establish Chapter 7 of the KSU SGA Comprehensive Plan. Section 2, this chapter shall enumerate the following objectives. 1, expand access to career development services and guidance. 2, improve awareness and utilization of the resources available at the K-State Career Center. 3, incentivize departments to develop programs that provide K-State students with the skill set and opportunities that will bolster a successful career. 4, advocate for the creation and promotion of a university-wide networking event. Section 3, the Strategic Oversight Committee shall, within its means, take action to achieve these objectives. And Section 4, this legislation shall take effect upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the student body president.
Okay, are there questions for the author? Seeing none, thank you. Okay, next up we have Bill 232468. Is there a motion to consider?
So moved.
Senator Glasscock.
I move to consider Resolution 68.
Second.
Bill 68.
Bill 68.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the author please come forward?
I'm back. Bill 6364, Bill 2468, Amendment to the KSU SGA Constitution regarding double jeopardy. Authors Vivian Griffiths. Whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association, KSU SGA, should continue to review its governing documents. Whereas the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution states, no person shall be subject to for the same offense or to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. Whereas courts have interpreted this to mean that one cannot be tried twice for the same offense. Whereas this right is enumerated in the KSU SGA Constitution. Whereas this right does not apply to violations of university rules. Whereas punishing someone twice for the same offense has been deemed by society as wrong. And allowing this violation of student rights to remain in the KSU SGA Constitution is both gross and negligent for the student body. Be it enacted that Section 1, Article 12 of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association Constitution will be amended to read as follows. The right to be tried and punished no more than once for the same offense. Section 2, this legislation takes effect upon passage by the Student Senate, signature of the student body president, and ratification of the college councils.
All right, thank you. I'm now seeking questions or corrections for the author. Chair Blood.
We just need to amend the title to add an O after the E in jeopardy.
And change the O to an A also.
Yes.
Oh, got it. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm useless with
Senator Zapko.
autocorrect.
Sorry. Stop moving. Thank you. Okay, line 20. Can we change offense to the U.S. spelling with an S?
Thank you. Chair Broughton.
Question of privilege. I guess I'm a little bit confused on what is considered like multiple offenses. So would that be in the case where like somebody graffitis after the time has ended for them to be able to do that? Is that per case
of that happening, or is that just for they were doing that after, so that is one offense?
What do you mean? Do you mean by, same offense means the same individual instance? That means being punished by, that means like getting punishments from 3 different groups for one thing.
Senator Rogers.
What inspired this bill?
I was reading the Constitution, and I saw that there was an exception in cases of violation of university rules. And then last week, Senator Lynn introduced the one that showed, we can amend the student rights section. So that's so knowing that this is something we can edit, and I do not believe that there should be an exception in cases of violation of university rules is what inspired this.
Chair Sushanik.
I would like to defer my question to a member of the judicial branch.
Hi, I was just curious, when considering creating this legislation, how did you connect the violation of the Fifth Amendment being for criminal or legal cases, whereas this has more to do with campus policy? Do you see campus policy kind of falling into that same branch there? Or how do you make the distinguishment between campus policy and federal, state, et cetera, laws?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I couldn't hear everything you said.
Yeah, sorry, it was kind of a incoherent question. I apologize for that. Basically, my question was more, since the Fifth Amendment deals with double jeopardy in the legal sense, whereas our Constitution and academic violations are more of a policy. They're legal things. If you could speak to how that a violation of campus policy would fit to a legal framework system there, if that makes sense. I'm sorry if it's not articulating it well.
I'm going to try and answer that to the best of my ability.
Appreciate it.
So essentially, if someone commits a violation of university rules, they could be punished by multiple different bodies, or by this writing, could be punished by the same body multiple times. Well, sure, that might not be their policy right now, but and they might not even do it. That doesn't change the fact that this is something they can still do. You could be, for the same offense, punished 3, 4, 17 times. That's something that they are allowed to do because of this. I doubt they do it because, as I said in an early whereas clause, something that society has deemed as wrong, but that doesn't change the fact that they're still able to do it.
Thank you for answering.
Senator Heseltine.
So what about in the case of people commit the offense multiple times?
That's different offenses. It's like if you kill 3 people, you can be charged for 3 different crimes. But if you were found not guilty, you couldn't be charged again for that crime. Different instances are different charges.
Caucus Leader Kidd.
So I think part of my question was answered with the former question I was asked, but just kind of like a question of privilege. What you're wanting to change, how does that interfere, how does that interact with the PPM or other documents that we don't have access to change? And or how does that work with getting general counsel involved to approve this to some capacity? Can someone answer that? Anyone in the room for me?
I'm not sure. I think that it's definitely something that we could run by general counsel when it's referred to a committee.
I'm totally fine with that.
Are there further questions? Chair Sushanik.
Do you know how many times a year somebody encounters double jeopardy for a crime?
I do not know that, but the fact that it could even happen, I think, is gross and is, as I said, a gross and negligent violation of student rights.
Further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Up next in introduction, we have Bill 232469, amendments to the KSU SGA statutes regarding a quorum. Is there a motion to consider? Senator Glasscock.
Consider Bill 69. Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Will the author please come forward?
I'm back again. Bill 232469, amendment to the KSU SGA statutes regarding a quorum, authors Vivian Griffiths. Whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association, KSU SGA, should continue to review its internal practices. Whereas the proxy system is an essential way of keeping KSU SGA operating even during stressful times of the year. Whereas a quorum of the Student Senate is required to consider legislation. Whereas proxies are not considered when forming a quorum. Whereas during certain times of the year, such as flu season, midterms, or the week before Dead Week, a significant number of senators may be absent for health or academic reasons. Whereas it is within KSU SGA's vested interest to keep its members healthy and academically active. Whereas forcing senators with diseases, exams, or overwhelming stress to rush to a meeting to form a quorum will negatively affect their health and well-being. And whereas rewarding senators who proactively obtain proxies for weeks in which they will be absent will reinforce those good behaviors. Be it enacted that Section 1, Chapter 2, Section 0207 of the Kansas State University Student Governing Statute shall be amended to read as follows. 02-0207, Legislative Procedures. A quorum of the Student Senate shall be required for legislation to be considered. A majority of those senators then selected and qualified will constitute a quorum. Proxies shall be counted when determining a quorum. Section 2, this legislation shall take effect upon passage by the Student Senate.
Questions or corrections for the author? Chair Blood.
So when writing this, did you consider the case where we have less than 50% of senators in attendance here, and they're only allowed to have one proxy, and so therefore senators, even if all of them wanted proxies but couldn't physically be here or on Zoom, would then be unable to reach a proxy or have a proxy for their vote to be considered, and therefore not have their voice representing students considered in this bill?
Okay, sorry, could you elaborate?
Sure. A senator can only serve as a proxy for one other person, right? If now less than 50% of the body is here to form a quorum and actually conduct business, and all other people who are not here ask for a proxy, then there would be more people who need a proxy than people here to conduct business and serve as proxies. Therefore, people who need a proxy to fulfill the things outlined in the bill would not be able to get one. Their vote would not be able to be considered, and their students that they represent would not be represented that week.
Point of information, if I may.
Sure.
How many times has that happened recently?
Never. Like, we have not had that situation occur. So far, we have had people, anyone who wants to find a proxy is able to find a proxy.
Thank you.
Assuming that scenario did happen, which would be incredibly unlikely, that would be a different bill would be created to a solution.
Chair Broughton.
Question of privilege.
Sure.
Do you continue with the meeting if we do not meet quorum?
One more time.
Do you continue with the meeting if we do not meet quorum?
So we are not allowed to conduct business without quorum. I would, for example, allow a first open period speaker to speak, but we could not vote on any legislation or motions without quorum.
I know that in the statutes, it's literally right here, it says that senators may take steps necessary to attain quorum and or penalize those not present, and if no quorum can be attained after appropriate measures, roll call will be taken before the meeting is adjourned.
Senator Shirkey.
So I guess maybe that line actually just directly answers this. Would you do like reports and stuff if there was not a quorum? Or?
Yes, those are allowed to happen. And likely in this situation, I would, so that we could reach out to individuals who are not here in an attempt to gain a quorum. Further questions for the author? Seeing none, thank you. We will now move on to Bill 232470. Is there a motion to consider? Senator Glasscock.
I move to consider Bill 70.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the author please come forward again?
I'm here again. Bill 232470, Amendment to the KSU SGA statutes regarding actions on legislation within committees. Authors Vivian Griffiths, whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association should continue to review its internal practices. Whereas Chapter 2, Section 0207, subsection E of the KSUSJ statute states, the legislation referred to committee will be returned to Student Senate for final action unless held by a majority vote of the committee. Whereas Student Senate standing committees can choose to withhold legislation for whatever reason, including to debate at a later date, or because they do not believe the legislation is deserving of being voted on in the Student Senate. Whereas there is no way to know what action has been taken on legislation within committee other than referment without the committee chair given a report. Whereas members of the Student Senate can discharge legislation from a committee should they deem it necessary. Whereas knowing the reason a piece of legislation has not been referred out of committee can change how senators vote on discharging legislation. And whereas committees showing exactly why legislation was held back keeps KSUSJ transparent and balanced. Be it enacted that Chapter 2, Section 0204 of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association statute shall be amended to read as follows. C. The Speaker of the Student Senate or the representative thereof, as within the purview of the Chair of the Senate Executive Committee, enumerated in the Constitution, shall give a committee report regarding each piece of legislation that was not referred out of committee. If a piece of legislation is held in committee, then it is not necessary to relate status again until and unless further action is taken. If a committee fails to meet a quorum to vote on legislation, did not meet the subsequent week, or failed to complete its agenda for that meeting, then this must be relayed to Student Senate. Section 2. This legislation shall take effect upon passage by the Student Senate.
Are there questions for the author? Senator Strunk.
Yeah, do you feel like how many times do you feel like this has really come up or been an issue?
Good. That's a good question. Way earlier during last semester, bills on speaking rights were brought. They were sent to the executive committee and were consistently postponed by week until a few weeks ago they were finally just postponed indefinitely. And we as a student body, well, sure, we did in fact have the ability to go up to Kate and say, hey, what happened to that bill that was referred to your committee? If I'm Kate or whoever the speaker is, I don't want to have the same question 17 times or more if every student wants to know. So that's why, and I believe that the Speaker of the Student Senate, this is something that I believe is a good position for their job. That way to showcase that they are well and aware of how all of Senate is operating.
Chair Lynn.
Would you consider it a friendly amendment to change the Speaker of the Student Senate to be the chair of the committee that it was referred to?
No, I would not.
Chair Lynn.
Can I ask why?
Because, for example, if multiple committees do that, that would be multiple committee reports, whereas it would be easier for the Speaker of the Student Senate to come up and say, hey, all of the funding legislation that we introduced into allocations last week were not brought because the allocations committee didn't meet, and then this bill in the DEIB committee was postponed a week because they didn't actually meet to vote legislation. They went on their tours of buildings relating to the accessibility plan, and so on and so forth. So just keeping it to one committee will save time for questions and will save time for the discussion. And if there is a question about further questions, that can always be deferred to the committee chair. And that also isn't preventing the committee chair from coming up and actually talking about why their committee held it.
Are there further questions for the author? Seeing none, thank you. Okay, we will now move on to Bill 232471. Is there a motion to consider? Chair Cuesta.
Move to consider Bill 71. Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Will the author please come forward?
All right. Bill 232471, amendments to the KSUSJ bylaws regarding the communications director. Authors Brady Kappelman, sponsors Brian Blood, Brayton Brugan, Riley Coy, Adelaide Easter, Alexa Hesseltine, Jack O'Malley, Bentley Talbert, and Paige Vogelmore. Whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association should continue to update its governing documents, whereas currently there are 2 KSU-SGA positions who focus on communications for our organization, whereas it is important that KSU-SGA has consistent messaging throughout all 3 branches to better serve and inform the student body. Whereas the executive branch of KSU-SGA serves as the external branch of our organization, and whereas streamlining our communication is needed to better inform students and grow awareness on campus. Be it enacted that Section 1, Article 3, Section 3, Part B of the KSU-SGA bylaws be amended as follows. the Public Relations Director on Cabinet being renamed as Communications Director. And it basically takes the roles of the Communications Director as an independent position and combines the roles of the Public Relations Director on Cabinet. Section 2, Article 4, Section 11, Part A.1 of the KSU SGA bylaws shall be amended as follows. This removes the Communications Director as a member of Senate Executive Committee. And adds the new Communications Director as an ex officio member of Senate Exec. Section 3, Article 4, Section 11, Part 1.2 of the KSU SGA bylaws shall be amended as follows. This again removes Senate Exec, the Communications Director from Senate Exec in Part G. And then Section 4, Article 6, Section 2 of the KSU SGA bylaws shall be amended as follows. This just removes the Communications Director independent position as it has already been moved to Cabinet. Section 5, this legislation shall take effect upon passage of the Student Senate and signature of Student Body President.
Are there questions for the author? Senator Lee.
I'm not doing this right, but I think the LGBT Resource Center is renamed to Spectrum Center. Is that like a friendly amendment? Can we change that?
Yes, that's a friendly amendment to change the title.
I think that's fair.
Senator Griffith.
How come you decided to begin these changes?
Yeah, so just kind of throughout the year, being able to attend the Big 12 Student Government Conference back in October, I've been able to have a lot of different conversations with different student governments around the country, along with our existing communications director, existing public relations director, and some previous ones as well. I've also been working with the current executive branch and both candidates, as I wanted to assure that this process was reviewed by both and a plan that worked for everyone. But the whole point behind it is just seeing that the amount of information that SGA has can be a lot for one person, and it's hard when we have two positions that are doing similar things. And you'll see later on in another bill that there's kind of a plan to be able to coordinate all this. But this basically is just to help make the role of whoever it becomes next year, just to make things more streamlined so that SGA is able to reach more students and have a more streamlined message.
Are there further questions for the author? Seeing none, we will move on to Bill 232472. Is there a motion to consider? Senator Koch.
I move to consider Bill 72. Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Will the author please come forward?
All right. Bill 232472, amendments to the KSU SGA bylaws to create the Communications Agency. Authors Brady Kaplan, sponsors Brayton Brugan, Riley Coy, Adelaide Easter, Alexa Hesseltine, Jack O'Malley, Bentley Talbert, and Paige Fogelmore. Whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association should continue to update its governing documents to best reflect best practices. Whereas Bill 232471 introduced the new roles of the Communications Director and added them to the Student Body President's cabinet. Whereas communications for a large organization includes many different mediums of communication. Whereas the amount of work required to update all of the communications for one person is a large time commitment. Whereas KSU SGA should continue to find new ways to include more students in our organization. Whereas agencies are designed to act as a subset of an organization to focus on a specific issue. And whereas the Communications Agency shall be added as an extension of the executive branch and chaired by the Communications Director. Be it enacted that Section 1, Article 3 of the KSU SGA bylaws be amended as follows. Section 7, Communications Agency. A, the charge of the Communications Agency is to create consistent messaging from KSU SGA to better inform the student body. In addition to information, the agency shall also focus on efforts on recruitment, elections, and any other messaging deemed necessary by the chair or other SGA officers. B, the communications agency shall create and upkeep a marketing and branding strategy that will be used on all communications efforts, including but not limited to digital and physical media. This marketing strategy is to be communicated to the rest of KSU SGA and will not contradict that of the Kansas State University brand guide. C, the communications agency shall select agents to serve in roles deemed necessary by the chair to fulfill specific aspects of KSU SGA's marketing strategy. This includes, but is not limited to, social media, the Kansas State University website, and physical signage. D, the communications agency shall be composed of full voting members of the student body at large, the recruitment and selection of which will fall to the chair. E, the chair shall create an application process to be distributed to the student body at large and evaluated in the spring semester after being selected to serve on the student body president's cabinet. The selection of communication agents shall be fair and equitable. F, the duties of the chair shall be as follows. 1, call monthly meetings of the communications agency and as deemed necessary. 2, provide adequate training and education to all agents related to the SGA marketing and branding strategies. 3, draft the agenda for all meetings. 4, execute disciplinary action for the dismissal of agents when warranted. 5, maintain the overall presence of KSU SGA communications. 6, oversee all activities by agents to assure consistent communication and confirm progress is being made by all agents. 7, give specific updates on the activities of the communications agency to the KSU SGA executive, legislative, and judicial branches. And 8, other duties as needed. Section G, a quorum of the agency shall be half of the sitting members plus 1. The chair shall only vote in the case of a tie. Section 3, this legislation shall take effect upon passage of the Student Senate and signature of the student body president.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author? Chair Sushanik.
Would this committee have access to any funding, and where would that come from?
So that would be a conversation further down the line. Kind of what I had in mind would be the promotions budget, since that is currently for any promotions by SGA. So not yet, but it would likely be that fund.
Follow-up?
How many members of SGA do you see sitting on this committee, or would it be majority outside of
Yeah. So the really cool thing about the communications agency is that it's kind of similar to legislative advocates. And for those of you who don't know, legislative advocates can be made up of members of SGA, and it can also be made up of people in the student body. So it's open to anyone. So the point of the communications agency is if senators are passionate about this, or people on cabinet, judicial branch, it's open for all of them, but it is also open to anyone in the student body. The goal of that is for people that may not have an interest in government, but still want to be involved in SGA and be involved on campus. So this would be a way for them to do that.
I have a question.
Yes.
What incentive is there for individuals who might not be interested in government to promote our organization?
So one of the really important things when it comes to graphic design, photography, website design, all of that kind of stuff, and I know this as a marketing major and know from a lot of peers that are in graphic design and marketing that building a portfolio is extremely important. So being able to have an opportunity to be able to grow your portfolio through like either taking pictures at Student Senate or taking group pictures, working on a website, all those things are really important in growing your portfolio and aiding in your professional development.
Senator Griffith.
I don't know if you're aware, but K-State has an ad club. Could you foresee this agency partnering with them?
Yeah, for sure. I think the reason this exists is I think with as large of an organization that we have, it is important that we have our own communications agency that is first party to SGA. But of course, I think collaboration in the future would be great.
Chair Long.
Brady, I like it. The biggest concern I have is every year we struggle to force somebody effectively to be communications director. How does this, do we know people want to be in this agency? We are now opening up the job to more people. Do we know people want this, or how are we going to incentivize people to be on this?
Yeah. So kind of the thinking behind it, and obviously we're just not going to know until it takes place, since it is something new. The hope behind it is that because it is something new, it's going to allow an opportunity for more students. I think normally our communications director has come out of someone who's already been in SGA. So I think focusing our efforts once it becomes time for cabinet selections, to focus on students that may have an interest in graphic design or photography, because those are important students to target, and they normally have not been targeted in the past for this role. So that is why I think that there is an opportunity for this.
Follow up?
So your vision, the most effective communications director would be somebody who has not been an SGA?
Not necessarily. I just think it's important that we're utilizing the skills of students on campus and just being able to include more students in our process. I think we see every year there's students that join SGA that may have never been involved before. And I think it's important that we're constantly reaching out to different groups who may not normally be involved with us. So while yes, like having knowledge of SGA is important, I do believe that a student would be able to learn and figure out the necessary requirements to do this position.
I have another question. Removing the obligation for this individual to sit on the Senate Executive Committee, how do you foresee communication happening between the branches that they're supposed to serve?
So in Bill 71, they would serve as an ex officio member. Since it's not an independent position anymore, they would serve through their duties as cabinet member on it. So on Senate Executive Committee, so they would still be there as well.
Point of information?
Senator Griffith, yes.
On line 38, 37 and 38, it says, or any other messaging deemed necessary by the chair or other SGA officers. Who would fall under the SGA officers?
SGA officers would be the people that lead each branch. So student body president, speaker, attorney general.
Are there further questions? Chair Long.
Next question then. So if this individual still serves on the Senate Executive Committee in an ex officio role, what is the merit or benefit of them being in the cabinet now instead of an independent position?
I think the point is because executive branch serves as an outward-facing part of SGA. The executive branch their purpose is to carry out what SGA does to the rest of the student body and to administration. So I think it just makes more sense logistically that they would serve on cabinet, as that is the cabinet's purpose, is to carry out those initiatives.
Time for questions is expired.
Okay, thank you. We will now move on to Bill 2324-73. Senator Griffith.
I move to consider Bill 73. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Will the author please come forward?
Bill 73, amendments to the KSUSJ statutes regarding KSUSJ budget transparency. Authors myself and Peyton Lynn, sponsors none so far. Whereas the Kansas State University Student Governing Association, KSUSGA, should continue to review its funding practices. Whereas the Student Governing Association line item of the student services fee totals $85,687 for FY24. Whereas approximately $55,000 of the sum is budgeted for officer scholarships and compensation. Whereas funding regulations do not require transparency regarding the expenditure of the remaining budget. Whereas expenditure of the student service fee monies should be subject to approval by a body or a group of students to ensure fiscal responsibility. Whereas SGA leadership should retain jurisdiction over minor purchases. And whereas the requirement to obtain student senate approval on large expenses will lead to greater transparency and stewardship. Be it enacted that adding Clause J, Student Governing Association budget, expenditures of the Student Governing Association line item of the student services fee totaling greater than $500 for events, travel, equipment, or other items must be approved by a majority vote of student senates. Section 2, this legislation shall take effect at the beginning of the 2024-2025 Student Governing Association term and upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President.
Are there questions or corrections for the author? Chair Cuesta.
Can you explain the inspiration behind this bill?
Sure. $85,000 in the SGA budget. Who knew that? That we have $85,000 for us as a group just to spend on ourselves. I'll count the two up here too. 5 people, excellent. $55,000 of that is spent on my scholarship, Peyton's scholarships, Kate's scholarships, Kate's stipend, other people's stipend and scholarship. Other $30,000, how was it spent? Well, I can tell you, I have the annual report. It was spent on good things. There's nothing wrong with it. But the fact that there's $30,000 that we, an organization, have, that we don't really talk about how it's spent in any way, I think we should be more fiscally responsible with that amount of money. Not even fiscally responsible, we are fiscally responsible with it. I think more students should have eyes on it. We do this for $1,000, we do this for $100 travel allocations. It's seen by some group of people, and I think that should be carried forward to this body as well.
I have a question. Is there something that you as an author find insufficient about the current check of it having to go through the 3 branch heads?
Yes. The fact that I wouldn't consider to be a body of any kind approving it. The 3 branches of people that are wanting to spend that money. By approval by another body, it's the approval by a body that is not necessarily the creators of the desire for funding.
Senator Griffith.
When it says the greater than 500 for events, travel, equipment, or other items, that doesn't include the JCOG scholarship, right?
Correct. This is for items like a couple of years ago, a previous speaker purchased a computer for SGA. Merit or not of that purchase, it was never discussed with SGA that we're going to be purchasing a computer. This would also go for travel to conferences and such like that, like we do with other student organizations.
I assume that would go through the introduction of allocations?
Yes. As of right now, this would function entirely as just another allocation.
Chair Broughton.
How did you pick $500?
Semi-arbitrarily, not arbitrarily, but that is around the amount, it is somewhere within the amount that we can allocate to student organizations. I'm open to interpretation on what can be considered major and minor. I want the branch heads to be able to purchase business cards. That's not the concern here.
Okay.
The concern here is when we're spending more than a student pays in the student services fee on something, anything that is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are major and minor allocations currently defined in the governing docs?
No. We got rid of that a couple years ago.
Chair Cuesta.
Piggybacking off of Senator Griffith's question.
No piggyback.
So since it's going to be under the agenda as introduction of allocations, I'm assuming, does that mean that those bills will be referred to the Student Allocations Committee for input?
I see no reason for them to go to the Student Allocations Committee since this money isn't under the purview of the Student Allocations Committee. It's also not specified that this has to go under introduction of allocations. That'd be the quickest way for it to happen. You just will go through the 2-week process.
Are there further questions or corrections? Seeing none, thank you. We will now move on to Bill 2324-74. Is there a motion to consider? Senator Griffith.
I move to consider Bill 74. Second.
Will the author please come forward? Senator Griffith.
I move to allow the author to forego with the initial summary. Second.
Thank you all. I will read them though.
Yeah, I object.
The committee put like 43 minutes into these, so we'll have them read. Bill 74, increase the Fine Arts Student Services Fee Agreement. Authors myself, sponsor Student Service Fee Committee. Whereas the Student Service Fee Committee reviewed the request of Fine Arts in their FY24 regular review. Whereas the Student Services Fee Committee is committed to the financial well-being of the Student Services Fee and maximizing the value provided to students. Whereas Kansas State University and the Kansas State University Student Governing Association, KSUSGA, values the academic and non-academic benefits Fine Arts provides to KSU students and faculty. Whereas the FY21 regular review of Fine Arts results in a large reduction in funds for the Fine Arts Department due to decreased usage during the COVID-19 pandemic and overall lack of financial stability caused by enrollment decline. Whereas McCain has had 100% budget utilization for ticket subsidies for FY22 through 24 and expects continued demand. Whereas as McCain continues to evaluate methods to ensure fair ticket distribution, the Student Services Fee Committee supports their plan to reserve a portion of the budget for spring semester ticket subsidies. Whereas the Art Department budget has been underutilized in FY22 and 23 and is projected to have 33% utilization in FY24. Whereas with a 28.57% $2,000 increase, the English Department will be able to bring 4 guest writers total during an academic year, returning them to pre-pandemic levels of service. Excuse me. Whereas the Student Services Fee Committee believes a 5% budgetary increase to the Departments of Music, Theater, and ISSS are necessary to keep up with the rising inflation costs. Whereas, while the Dance Department's budget has decreased 20% since the 2016-17 academic year, enrollment has dramatically increased due to the introduction of the secondary major and a doubling of student dance groups. Whereas, Student Services Fee Committee believes a 20%, $2,880 increase to the Dance Department's budget is warranted due to rising participation and increased operating costs. Whereas the Fine Arts Student Reserve Account, NISA FAS RSV, which has a current balance of $50,874.94, has no other dedicated use besides supplementing the yearly Student Services Fee allocation of the Fine Arts line item. Whereas the committee believes that continued yearly utilization of $15,000 from the Fine Arts Reserve Account, NISA FAS RSV, is prudent and financially responsible, and recognizes that future committees will likely need to increase the yearly allocation by this amount to maintain these budgets. Whereas the Student Services Fee Committee believes that, for the aforementioned reasons, the following increases to the Fine Arts line item are necessary. A, 3.49%, $6,927 in FY25. B, 5.37%, $10,667 in FY26. And C, 7.25%, $14,407 in FY27. And whereas the Student Services Fee Committee voted X 0 to 0 to recommend to the Student Senate the following Student Service Fee Agreement. Be it enacted that the following contract, which enumerates those things. The budget for FY25 is $190,667. The budget for FY26 is $194,407, and the budget for FY27 is $98,147. And each of those will also have an additional $15,000 on top of them from the reserve account they're using. The Section 6, we have it up there. That is what each organization is getting. So McCain next year will have $52,500 and it will increase slightly over 3 years. Art Department will have $6,200 and will increase slightly over 3 years. English Department will have a flat $9,000. Music Department will have a flat $55,860. Theater will have a flat $62,832. ISSS will have a flat $19.95, and Dance will have a flat $17,280. The total allocation of all those being those numbers in the 200,000s, utilizing $15,000 from reserve for our total student services fee budget. Other important contract line items. Other funds allocated for fiscal years 25, 26, and 27. For theater, at least $5,500 of these must be spent on Ebony Theater. Funding for McCain is completely contingent upon them using all of their money to subsidize student tickets at 100%. They must do this until funding is exhausted. However, they can reserve part of it for the spring semester, and the Student Service Fee Committee retains the right to change that subsidy amount to a lower amount of subsidy. And that is the important stuff. Section 2, Bill 74, becomes effective upon execution of this agreement by the Student Services Fee Committee Chair, the Speaker of the Student Senate, the Student Body President, the Directors, Chairs, Department Heads of the agencies outlined in Section 6, the Vice President for Administration and Finance, and the Vice President for Academic Success and Student Affairs, and Dean of Students. Please ask me questions. Minnie.
Are there questions or corrections for the author? Senator Griffith.
I might have missed it in the whereas clauses, but what is ISSS?
International Scholars, something help me, please.
Student and Scholar Services.
International Student Scholar Services, yes. Their allocations for putting on coffee hour. So a couple weeks ago, it was Thailand. I think last week was Kuwait. And it's basically an individual that comes and speaks about their country and activities there, and they drink coffee. Say again?
It's Molly this week.
It's Mali this week.
Chair Broughton.
Is this open to all students?
Yes.
Where?
I don't know where they posted.
If you look at the K-State Today, they posted about it.
Very
They have Instagram.
prodigious about putting the K-State today. Senator Saya gives it his full-throated support.
I went to 2.
He went back after the first one, which is saying something.
Do you have a favorite line in this bill?
Favorite line? The word aforementioned was suggested by Senator Kidd, and it really ties the whole thing together, and I like that.
Are there further questions? Coordinator Hoffman.
Maybe to address Senator Griffin's point, on 37, could we just spell out ISSS? Since we don't actually.
Yeah.
We should probably do that at some point. Yep, I agree.
Did you get that?
Jacob, would you keep that in your mind for Monday?
Yep.
For those wondering what all the McCain business is about, previously, McCain would provide, they had a sum of money, $100,000 it used to be, and they would use that to subsidize student tickets at 50%. So if you bought a $20 ticket, you actually got it for $10, that kind of thing. Demand was not high because some of those tickets were $70, and $35 is still a lot of money to a college student. So closer to the start of COVID, they got their budget slashed in half to $50,000 because of budget cuts. And then they said, actually, what we're going to do is subsidize 100%. So if you want a $73 ticket, you can get a $73 ticket for free. Demand went through the roof. And they have people lining up for hours before it opens, and they sell out in like 3 hours or something on the day it actually happens. So they would like to explore different methods for making sure that if you happen to have a lab during the time that they open, you're not just out of luck. So what they would like to do is reserve part of their money for the spring semester shows, which is typically when they have bigger ticket names. There was a country artist of some sort last year that apparently was very large. They will have some amount of money to give those students in the second semester, so you have more of a chance to get a ticket to something, and we supported that as well. Yeah.
Further questions, Chair Lynn.
Is that like contingency about maybe let's explore not doing the McCain tickets the way that we do? Is that in the contract somewhere? Am I missing that?
Maybe let's explore not doing the McCain tickets.
Or like is something about the McCain tickets in the contract?
Yes, we have it said that they are, the change is they are allowed to do it differently. Previously, we said they had to use the money until it was gone. So the second they started allocating the money, it had to go. They couldn't stop. Now it says they can reserve part of this. We, the committee, didn't really feel like contractually stipulating a method for them to do it was the best idea, particularly since they don't know what the best one is, and we didn't want to stipulate they had to do it for at least 3 years. And then we we don't really anticipate changing the amount of subsidy, but if for some reason we decide that a 67% subsidy is better than 100%, we can.
Are there further questions or corrections? Seeing none, thank you. Now that we have exhausted introduction, we will move into second open period. Senator Griffith.
I'm back. Again. Again. I will continue to stall until the thing I sent Ethan is on the screen. There it is. So I am the president of the Board Game Club. And don't worry, even though I haven't been coming up here and talking about it the past 2 weeks, we haven't been canceling. We've still been meeting, and we set up an official Discord server. So please, all of you, I want to see every last one of you take your phone out and scan this QR code and join the Discord server. This is not up to you. You're not allowed to leave until you do it. That's a joke, of course. Or is it? This includes you, Kate. No, this is for a Discord server. Yeah, we canceled it because GroupMe isn't very good.
That's why you don't text.
That's why I stopped getting notifications.
Well, you would have known about the Discord server if you're actually checking them. I am open to questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there further second open period speakers? Senator Koch.
All right, 3 things. 2 of them are tomorrow. Make sure, go to Landon lecture tomorrow, or Governor Kelly. Doors open at 11, starts at 11:30. Then after that in the Union, there's the Health Promoting Kickoff University event. Definitely go to that. That's 1 to 2. Don't know what's gonna go on, but free food, free swag. And then most importantly, go Cats.
Senator Koch will not be standing for questions. Are there further second open period speakers? Senator Jacobson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just kind of wanted to come up and explain why I voted no earlier on that constitutional amendment. I got some faces when I did that. So want to get it right off the bat. It was not necessarily what was in the bill, why I voted against it. It was mostly because the university already has an ordinance that addresses this already. And so I take constitutional amendments very seriously. I think any governing body's constitution needs to be treated with utmost respect. And I voted on a constitutional amendment tonight that I thought was addressed an issue that it's been a long-standing issue and it was really good. So I voted for that one. The other one, I thought it was bulk. I looked kind of more. Wasn't needed. And so kind of just going back to what I said, I realized the importance of this issue to a lot of people in here, but it's already, the university's already addressed it, so that's why I voted no on it. So I didn't want to come up and talk positive or negative on the bill. I wanted to come out and talk about it during second open period. So just really don't want to set a precedent for amending the Constitution for things that we don't need to be doing. You look at a lot of other governing bodies across the country too, when they amend the Constitution, and it usually goes straight to the voters anyway. So that's kind of what I just want to do a quick bill explanation on that. And with that, that's all I got. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Are you standing for questions?
Yeah, sure.
Are there any questions? Thank you. Are there further second open period? AG-elect Navarro.
Yeah, I got you.
This will be quick. All right. So if you are an upcoming junior or senior, I would encourage you to apply to the Mortarboard Senior Honorary Society. They've extended their deadline. Jacob's doing that to me. They've extended that deadline until Sunday. I just want to say my personal experience with Mortarboard has been fantastic. I was on the service committee, and I found that to be super satisfying to myself. I ended up volunteering in retirement homes, animal shelters, book drives, food distribution, food banks. You know, we love that food security here. And I met a bunch of people that I never thought that I would end up meeting. You know, that led me to a bunch of different experiences, a bunch of different things. I already hit 30 seconds? Cool. All right, our deadline's on Sunday, and I hope you guys consider it. Yeah, I'll stand for questions.
Senator Zacko.
What did you say that was called?
Mortarboard Senior Honorary Society. Yeah.
Senator Koch.
If it's a senior honorary, how do juniors apply?
You're probably wondering, how did I even get in there, right? So Mortarboard does like to bring on 2 juniors or like 2 or 3 juniors every year just to kind of get, 1, prep them for leadership for the next year, and 2, to accept younger students, and then, you know, they can be leaders on campus too, like me, so.
Point of information, Mortarboard has a lower credit hour number involvement than Blue Key Senior Honorary. So while they're both senior honoraries, there is a credit hour difference. I just don't know exactly what it is. Yes.
Are there further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Chair Sushanik. is my favorite philanthropy event of the year from Kappa Delta Sorority, which I am a part of. If you scan this QR code here, you can pre-order cookies for next Thursday. You can go through the drive-thru at Kappa Delta and bring your Girl Scout cookies to Senate. It's a win-win. And of course, we're competing against the KU chapter of Kappa Delta. We have pretty much never won, but this year we're doing pre-orders. And this year, Senate can get their cookies. I think we can win. So beat KU, support your local Girl Scout chapter, as well as Prevent Child Abuse America, and eat some cookies. A point of order, I did contribute last year and will be contributing again this year to beating KU.
Is this legalized drug dealing?
We're going to go with no. Senator Griffith.
Do you think you could send that out to like a whole mailing list of everyone in SGA?
We will send it to the Student Senate Group Me.
I got you just now. I already had it drafted.
Go KD. Beat KU. Senator Shirky. Oh.
We're allowed to eat food in the Senate building, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Are there further questions? Are there further second open period speakers? Senator Lee.
Hello. I just want to let you guys know, I think tomorrow at 12:30, the government affairs folks are having a legislative information session about what K-State's doing in the legislature. I intern in the legislature right now. Mr. Jacobson interns in the legislature right now. So I think it's super important that you guys should go and check it out and see what K-State's doing in the legislature to help continue supporting higher ed. So yeah, Hail 181, I think.
Are there questions? Senator Fogel.
Who's your elected official that you're interning
Who what?
for? Who are you interning for?
That I work for?
Yeah.
I intern for Senator Usha Reddy, serving the 22nd District of Kansas.
Further questions? Seeing none, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Further, Chair Long.
I heard a sigh behind me as I stood up, so that's my cue to go quickly. An odyssey is coming to an end. For the past 3 to 4 months, a group of us have been working to put together a bill and a package related to SGA incentives, using some of our reserve dollars to purchase things and spend some money to be benefits and incentives and things you get for being an SGA. The Senate Executive Committee this Tuesday agreed on what that package was going to look like, what they were going to be asking the Student Service Fee Committee to fund. And on Monday, the Student Service Fee Committee will be hearing that request and deciding on whether or not to bring a bill to Senate on that incentive package. It's approximately $73,000 over 2 years and includes things such as parking passes and cost for banquets, cocktail hours, and additional travel to places like DC. We will talk a ton about it next week, but I want to give people the opportunity, if you would like to hear a lot of the nitty-gritty discussion, please come to Senate. We'll do that too. Please come to Student Services Fee meeting at 5 p.m. on Monday. This is a pretty complicated piece of moving machinery that has a lot of implications. So if you have strong thoughts on it and would like to have those heard and discussed, please come to the committee meeting on Monday.
Senator Shirky.
Where is the meeting?
The Student Programs and Involvement Conference Room, 5 p.m. So that conference room over there. In the Center in the Student Programs and Involvement Office, where the SGA offices are. 114A. Thank you, Carson.
The times for all of the committee meetings are in the agenda every week.
We'll also be voting on the fine arts agreement if people have particularly harsh opinions on fine arts.
Okay, are there further questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there further second open period speakers? Seeing none, we will move on to Senate shoutouts.
All right. Just for everyone's information, this is a record number of Senate shoutouts. There's 62. So, sit back, relax, and watch me struggle through this. Shout out to some of the chill vibes in the room. Y'all are correct. Shout out to Brian for saying the pledge correctly. Shout out to Highland Cows. It's random, but they're just so cute. Shout out to, so actually I'm a cat. That feels like it was yesterday. I feel like we did it a long time. Shout out to Nick Saya for his boundless enthusiasm. Shout out to everyone being trained. You know, love a good touch and go. Shout out to Words and Stuff under Strategic Oversight Committee. Shout out to APD making an impression on other colleges. Shout out to Jacob Mason for going up to the podium for the first time. So proud. Shout out to Alexa Hesseltine for asking her first question. So proud. Jacob Mason for having the courage to go to the podium. We're glad you're here. Shout out to the Wordle. Shout out to bringing your dinner to Senate. Shout out to it being weird to vote no. Shout out to Jeremy for chomping away on his little snack. Shout out to EP, you're slaying. We appreciate you. Shout out to the way Elections Commissioner Saya points and scolds. Shout out to EP for continuing to crush it and then crushing it yet again. Shout out to Senator Shirky for keeping us in line and on our toes. Shout out to What's Up, Senator Heatherman. Shout out to Dakota's fancy little placard grabs from the podium, in parentheses, #slay. Shout out to Vote How You Feel. Shout out to Chase, your debate never misses. Shout out to the woo. I don't know what that is. Thank you. All right, shout out to Chase Glasscock's spin move. Shout out to all opposed. Done just like that. Shout out to the new tech vice chair, Andrew Lee. The name was spelled wrong, by the way. Shout out to Jack for the thoughtful questions tonight. Shout out to Flags. Shout out to Jeremy for sticking it out for the whole Senate. Shout out to Chair Lynn saying nice after hearing Bill 69. Shout out to EP for spinning right around in that chair. Shout out to almost being able to break a tie. So close, so close. Shout out to Alexa for wanting a hot dog. Shout out to Hattie and Elizabeth, our bylaws baddies. Shout out to Elizabeth and Hattie, our Constitution queens. Shout out to me. Shout out to Hattie and Elizabeth, our statute slayers. Nah, honey, I'm good. Shout out to Time for Questions. Shout out to I could have another, but I probably should not. Shout out to I've got somebody at home. Oh my gosh. Shout out Jacob for his jacket. Shout out to Long Senate. This was a great day. Shout out to Chair Long throwing Senator Sire's support around without permission. Shout out to Cookies. Shout out to Chair Sue Shanik for soliciting this elected body. Shout out to Anna Koch for going cuckoo for cookies. Shout out to Anna's demon laugh when Girl Scout cookies came on the screen. Shout out to Andrew Lee for being the most adult person in this room as a freshman. If I had $1 for every second open period speech today, I'd be a rich woman. And shout out to Girl Scout cookies and beating KU. There we go.
Okay, now on to reference of legislation. I'm going to send Bill 67 to Oversight, 68 to the Governing Docs Committee, 69 and 70 to Ops, 71, 72, and 73 to Senate Exec, and 74 to SSF. We will now move into second roll call.
Bellamy. Biggs.
Here.
Blood.
Here.
Broughton.
Here.
Bruckner.
Here.
Koch.
Here.
Compton.
Here.
Cuesta.
Here.
Cup.
Here.
Dennis.
Here.
Fogel.
Here.
Glasscock.
Here.
Griffith.
Here.
Haynes. Heatherman,
Here.
Hesseltine,
Here.
Hulse,
Here.
Hunley, Jacobson,
Here.
Kirchen,
Here.
Kidd,
Here.
Kermer, Lee,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Lynn,
Here.
Mason,
Here.
Moore,
Here.
O'Malley, Lowry,
Here.
Pelton, Peterson,
Here.
Rivard,
Here.
Rogers,
Here.
Syatt Nick,
Here.
Salmon,
Here.
Shirky,
Here.
Streetman, Strunk,
Here.
Sushanik,
Here.
Wingert, Wolf,
Here.
and Zacko.
Here.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, is there a motion? Senator Glasscock.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any objections?
Well done. I need to keep everyone forever. I can't come in with the only ones who know what's going on this
Just imagine if we saw it our own series. We would have been here until midnight. Or we didn't limit. Imagine like we just had like 8 Taylor or President Lincoln, we have to